Evening, welcome back to the channel. Been away all week, been in France for the anniversary of D-Day. It was brilliant. There will be a video coming out on the IRL channel, so check that out, probably middle of next week. Really, really good, really enjoyed it. I'll probably end up talking about it a little bit later on in the pod, but there's been a little bit of like flipsy-flopsy going on today. For about 27 minutes, Tuchel was like nailed on to be United manager, and then everyone's come out and gone, no, that ain't happening. So there's this seeming like just complete lack of briefing, it seems, by Ineos to the media about the future of Erik Ten Hag, when every single one of them going, it's 50-50. Basically, they're just outing themselves and saying, yeah, I ain't got a Scooby-Doo. We have no idea what's going on. Which might be the case. The case might be that they've already decided and they're sticking with him and decided they're not gonna communicate that because he's got a contract, so why would they communicate that? I don't think that'll be the case, but it could be the case. And then you've got what I presume is the agents of other managers getting excited and trying to force links to happen, trying to make it look like United are missing out on managers, trying to make it look like United have been rejected for managers. Now, as I said for a long, long time, I wanted United to be in a position where they have like a live shortlist of potential managers. And that live shortlist looks like 4 or 5 blokes that they've got on there that they think could be the future Manchester United manager. And that requires interviewing them while you've still got a manager. That doesn't mean that the manager's job is at risk. It doesn't mean that the manager's job is safe. It literally just means you are doing some due diligence. Now, I've spotted some frenzy. I've seen loads of, Ineos out there fucking clueless. Why? Because you're presuming decisions have been made that haven't actually been made, or you're presuming decisions haven't been made that actually might have been made. The lack of clarity is not amazing. And I think, the writing could have been on the wall for a long time because you haven't seen them really come out and explicitly back the manager. But at the same time, they also seemingly came out and said, no one could have been a success here. So there is a little bit of reading between the lines, a little bit of guesstimation. And you know what? There's a little bit of mischief making in the press as well. Now, Jacob Steinberger's come in for a right load of shit this weekend. Some of it I think is absolutely fair, because trying to blame Kobbie Mainoo for the England performance the other night is laughable, as was some of the other outlets that were making Saka the face of England's loss against Iceland. Have they all decided to make a pact that they're not going to call out any Manchester City players? Have they made a pact that they're not going to call out Gareth Southgate? Or do those two entities just not bring in enough clicks for anyone? So let's make it Saka, or let's make it Manchester United players. Because that's what it felt like to me. That's what it felt like they were trying to make out. I didn't watch the game live. We was on the ferry on the way back and then driving back up north. I got in at 4 a.m. on Saturday morning before I went to the trial. It was a long day. And the sort of fallout we were seeing about what had happened and how England had conceded. And I saw loads of tweets talking about Mainoo. And I'm like, fucking hell, what's Mainoo done? So I had to wait for ages till I finally saw the goal. And I see the goal. And England have been broke on. The man in possession is kind of running with the ball a little bit, lays it off, and then makes a run, which Kobbie follows. He's followed the runner. That England are 4v4, which isn't ideal because you want to be +1, but they're 4v4. And then someone doesn't do their job, which was not Kobbie Mainoo. Rice isn't even in the picture. He's the defensive midfielder. But we're not either calling out the structure or we're not calling out anything else. I saw a stat which is like Foden's got 2 goals in 31 for England. Now, I don't know if that's true. Is that true? Let us know in the comments. Is that true? Because if that's true, that's ridiculous. And it shows how much of a system player he is for Manchester City. That system's just set up for him to succeed in it like that, isn't it? Apna with a super chat, thank you, our kid, says, as It's as if Ten Hag and all the other managers on our side are doing Deer Hunter style Russian roulette with every passing day. Jackson says Thomas Tuchel and then 3 broken heart emojis. Robbie says no way he's Steve, just 5'7". What's that? Where's that come from? I'm 5'10". I'm 179 centimeters. That's what it said on my army ID. But yeah, I'm 179 centimeters, which is 5'10". Don't know. Am I going to do any non-football Q&As? I'm enjoying complete break from football. Absolutely, yeah. I've had some non-football questions on Instagram, and we'll talk about whatever, man. Jay Washington says trial for what? So we have expanded Stretford Paddock FC into 8 teams ahead of next season. We've got under 12s, under 16s, amateurs, under 21s, all that sort of stuff. It started off quite disappointingly, I'll be honest with you. There's only 2 players turned up for the under 12s trial, and I was like, better not be like this the entire day. Just 2 players. Now, 2 players look really good, real technical, and we've got some really good coaches. One of the coaches in our under 12s used to play for Forest. He's a good bloke, and they were doing some sort of technical 1v1 stuff with him. You can't really trial just 2 lads turning up, can they? So they ended up doing like some technical 1-to-1 kind of drills with them, and both of them looked really bloody good. So both of them ended up getting passed through. But I was literally sitting there going, "Oh man, this is gonna fucking down its arse, isn't it?" Now we already have an existing pair of triple teams, actually 3 teams at under 12. So it's not like we was starting up with a fresh team. We had teams just wanted to add something to them, and then 30 turned up for the under 16 trial. And the standard was bloody high. We have an excellent under 16s team, and you know they went really well last year as under 15s. This year they'll be under 16s coming in, so we trialled all the players. Now 30 players turned up. 4 of them were that good. I've invited them to first team training on Tuesday. 15 years of age, really good technical players. So exciting to see where they go. Not expecting that they'll be first team players this season, but I think that their performance at the trial warranted them being given a taste. And I'd already sort of made the decision that I was going to invite 2 of our under 16 players to train with the first team every single week, integrate them within the sort of greater club, but also if they're picking up habits and skills and things, because you do learn when you play with different age groups and stuff, it might help them when they go back down and train with the rest of their team. That's my thinking, at least. Anyway, so that was what the trial was for. And then we had 40 turn up for the first team. I'm not sure how many are first team quality, but you know we have a new reserve side for next year, so we've definitely filled that. We've bolstered the 21s. So I would say it was a good day had all round and some really good football. Waleed says, can I ask why you're trialing at under 12 level? Well, how else am I supposed to recruit players? You tell me how else we recruit players and I will happily go and do that. Raman says, The Athletic confirmed there was someone who wanted Southgate at our club. Do we go for the green and yellow strip? We haven't put it out to vote yet. So the reason that I haven't put it out to vote yet, and you know, we maybe touch on this a little bit later on, is just that I've not been happy with the other options. Like, I don't want it to just look like I've gerrymandered the vote to select the green and gold. I want there to be genuine options, and I've got like 3 or 4 other options from the kit manufacturer, and they feel weak to me. They don't feel like they're good enough for us, and I don't know if they're not as interested because they think that the green and gold is going to win, so they're just giving us half-assed designs for it, but I'm not getting good designs out of them, and that's what's holding up the process of that so far. Super chat from Ion says, thoughts on Ollie in talks to join Leicester? I haven't heard of that. Now, I would say almost feels a little bit disloyal, doesn't it? But I think he's earned the right to show what he can do, and I think doing it at Leicester be very interesting. I think he'd be up against it, but it'd be nice to see how it plays out for him. It'd be nice to see how it plays out for him without Carrick and McKenna on board as well, and if he brings Mike Phelan back. Yeah. Ralph says, did I see any or meet any American veterans at Normandy? I didn't speak to any American veterans at Normandy. We did come across quite a few. So we arrived on the 5th of June, which obviously is the night before, but for Airborne Forces, that's the night D-Day actually is, because Airborne Forces took Pegasus Bridge before midnight on the 5th. So whilst for everybody else it starts on the 6th, for Airborne it starts on the 5th. So there was a memorial service at about 4:30 in the afternoon at the site of where the gliders landed, at the side of Pegasus Bridge, which we attended. And we had a flyover from Apache helicopters, which was quite cool. And then we had, and I thought it'd be quiet, you know, for the one at midnight. There's a memorial at midnight, with it being, you know, a midnight operation. And I got there at midnight, and it was, the only way I can describe it is like, do you know the way Warwick Road is after a United game, when it is just wall-to-wall people, but no one's moving in any direction. People were just standing in place and drinking. And I didn't know what to expect, but I didn't expect that. It was rammed. There must have been thousands of people just standing on the bridge and outside Café Gondry. And it was nice. I expected it to be a quite emotional event. I didn't end up being emotional at the event. I met probably about a dozen blokes that I served with, which was nice. Met quite a few serving soldiers who are fans of the channel as well. That was nice. Sending pictures to like various mates and stuff like that who know me, and it was sort of circulating around. The army's like the biggest sort of small world you can be like a card carrying member of. Everyone knows everyone. It's fun. But yeah, it was good. It was good. You know, the services are extremely poignant, and I got a chance to walk the beaches. Got a chance to go inside a German bunker, see what it would have been like from the other side, and just think, what an absolute meat grinder, man. What an absolute meat grinder. On D-Day itself, we had a memorial at Ranville Cemetery, which is the airborne cemetery right to the side of Pegasus Bridge. Met up with people that I served with there, ran into someone I wasn't expecting to see there, that I was in training with. Spoke to loads of people. Faraj was at that one as well, actually. And then we had like a bit of a free afternoon, so we decided to try and go and see the Richard Winters Memorial, the 101st Airborne Leadership Memorial. That's over near St Mary Leglise. And then try and work our way back along like Utah Beach, Omaha Beach. Omaha Beach is where they landed for Saving Private Ryan. And then work all the way back to Sword Beach, which is where we were based. But we couldn't get anywhere near the beaches because they just closed everything off. So we ended up driving about 7 hours. About 7 hours to see fucking nothing. We went in the D-Day Experience Museum and couldn't get in it. Weirded me out a little bit how commercialized, how merchandised D-Day is. There was so much merch, t-shirts, boxer shorts, the D-Day Monopoly game, figures, Lego. That was a bit strange. There was loads of people like reenactment dressed that were walking about, and that was a bit freaky. Especially like there was a great shot, like a mental photograph that I took. There's not many of the blokes who landed on D-Day alive. I mean, if there were 19 then, 99 today. So, you know, there's not a lot of them left. I believe there was some over there. Well, there was some over there, but there's not a lot of them left. Now, at one point, I looked over to my right in the cemetery, and just between the rows, there's an old guy looking, and he's got, a lot of us was wearing medals, but not everyone is World War II medals. You can spot the World War II medals because they've got a star on them. Or the medal itself is a star where most other medals are round. And I spot this guy, and he's kneeling down in front of a grave. And the first thought is, fucking hell, I can't kneel at the minute, man. My knee's fucked. Guy's probably 100, kneeling down. What a fucking boy. And I was walking over to go see if he needed a hand getting up, and he got himself back up using the gravestone in front of him. And then I thought, well, I'll leave him to it because he must be talking to someone he knows here. And I just looked and took a mental photograph of this bloke. There's hundreds of graves in Ranville. And then as I turned only 90 degrees to my front, there's a guy wearing 6th Airborne Division reenactment uniform, full dress, the shoulder patches and everything. And I look back at the old guy and I'm thinking, what an absolute fucking trip this must be for him. Obviously, the memories, everything must be coming back from D-Day for him. And then this guy's cutting about, which I know it's not done in a disrespectful way, but this guy's cutting about dressed how he was dressed on that day. Like, that's got to be a trip, hasn't it? It's got to be a trip. So, yeah, so glad I went. And everyone I spoke to was all going, oh, it's the last big one, it's the last big one, it's the last big one. And it was good. And it's good. And, you know, I did film it. I did film going there and talk my thoughts on it. And, you know, spoiler alert, I will have a little bit of a chat in the film saying, like, how long are we going to commemorate this? Because we shouldn't ever stop. But we will. And I wonder when that is. Shaq says D-Day merch, it comes across as crass. It felt crass looking at it, and it was getting hoovered up as well by people. Bruce says, not to change the subject, but how's the Land Rover treating you? Love the IRL channel, keep it up and enjoy. Cheers. Radiator melted on it a couple of weeks ago. I got it back yesterday. It's fucking costing me a fortune in repairs. It's 30 years old, it's back to character. Eventually we'll replace everything soon. Did I go to the 360 cinema? No. Thoughts on Sunak on D-Day? Prick. So Jimmy says once it gets past 100 years, probably, possibly. Sam says there should be a 100-year anniversary, never forget. Absolutely. V-Day is the one, says Wesley. That'll be next year, the 80th anniversary of that for sure. I'm going to try and do Arnhem in September. But all the commemorations for Arnhem is on a Saturday, which makes it difficult with the football team. So I'm going to try go on a Thursday, Friday maybe, and then come back for it. But Arnhem's a big one. You know, we had 10,000 British landed at Arnhem, less than 2,000 returned. So it's a big one to commemorate. Brian says, next time in Ireland, should make my way down to Wexford to Curraclough Beach, where the opening of Saving Private Ryan was filmed. Interesting. Daz says, my Land Rover didn't like getting wet. What? Jockey says, hurts my heart seeing the veterans guards doing remembrance dwindling away. So few left. Yeah, I made Spencer, my videographer, watch Band of Brothers. Now, Band of Brothers is over 20 years old, and Saving Private Ryan's nearly 30 years old. I mean, I watched Saving Private Ryan for probably the 20th time. We rented a house, so in the house in bed I had Saving Private Ryan on D-Day, on the 80th anniversary of it in Normandy. Felt quite fitting, but I made him watch Band of Brothers to sort of get his head around it a little bit, and we watched 5 hours of it straight on the ferry on the way home. He's hooked. Do I know anybody affected by the redundancies at Old Trafford? No, I did speak to some of the groundsmen, and the groundsmen were having their hours changed. Some of the groundsmen aren't happy with that. Bruce says, intense thing to be at, especially when you know what they went through to a degree. And old vehicles will always give you something to drop a coin on. A nice ride, though. Cheers. Yeah, oh, and the other thing as well is I think the world's supply of Wiley's Jeeps were in Normandy, by the way, as well. But there was literally every other vehicle was a Wiley's Jeep cutting about the place. I mean, I really enjoyed watching that, seeing seeing some of the equipment and that up close. Yeah, it's yeah, but it's an unfathomable. There's a diorama right inside this bunker that we went in. There's a 5-story German bunker which they've kind of put trees around the front of. Let me try and find it because you'll be able to see it for yourselves then if I get it. Let me just Google it. So I'm just going to put bunker. It's now a museum. Sword Beach. So it's called Le Grand Bunker. Yeah, so that might give you the idea of it. So if you search Le Grand Bunker, you will see it now. You want to see what it looks like from the front side. It is just a concrete machine of death. And there would have been no trees around it on D-Day, so you'd have been able to see it straight from the beach. You can't quite see it from the beach now because there's all these trees in the way of it, but it's a fucking seriously imposing structure. And I got to go up inside it and look out across the beaches from it, and you can see all the way over to the west where the Canadians would have been landing. Serious point of view that you got from there, and serious engineering to build the thing. But attacking that with, I mean, they didn't even have body armor. They're wearing a fucking flannel shirt and trousers and just fucking cutting in there from the sea. An unfathomable display of bravery. Unfathomable. 1917 was a film, so in terms of a good film actually as well. Yeah, says I have a feeling it's De Zerbi. I have a feeling it's De Zerbi as well, to be honest with you. Stephen says, any podcasters boxing on the horizon, you could smack fuck out of McCullough. Well, we're not going to be in the same weight class, are we? Let's face it. But no, I wouldn't do it anyway, because I would have to go completely fucking mental for it, and I would spend 4 or 5 months. I would say trying to get fit and train for it, but in reality, what would happen is I would go absolutely balls to the wall, like Rocky in Russia, for 2 weeks and then break something. That's what I'd do, if I'm being honest. Tony says, have I seen the movie The Beautiful Game? It's about homeless World Cup. How recommend it? I haven't actually. What is United's transfer plan? Says Zola. Fuck knows, mate. Surik Khan says, do I ever get overwhelmed by the fact that so many people value my opinion and engage positively? Yeah, but at the same time, I just try and keep it down the middle, because also there's plenty of people, especially on Twitter, it's not so much in person, but on Twitter, that think I'm a fucking knob. So I can't get too carried away with the good ones, and I'm not going to get too fucking bent out of shape with the ones that think I'm a knob. So I'd rather just roll it down the middle and go, it is what it is. Tino says, I know you mentioned Saving Private Ryan and Band of Brothers, but is there a better film series that represents D-Day better? I've heard The Longest Day is meant to be really good. I ain't seen it since I was a kid. And I think there's quite a lot of D-Day veterans that were involved in the shooting of that, actually, as well. Band of Brothers is incredible. And Omaha Beach, I think they said they got a lot of things wrong in Saving Private Ryan, but D-Day, they said they got pretty fucking bang on, to be honest. Lou Skunt says, steroid use in YouTube boxing is high. Oh, mate, believe you me, if I got on one of those, my piss would be a luminous fucking purple. Make no mistake. Stephen Harris says, asking for a selfie, he starts twitching. Yep. Shaq says, please not Southgate. He'd get chewed up and not being able to protect our young players like Mainoo. Could you imagine, with some of the things he said and done in press conferences, how he would handle being Manchester United manager? Fucking Christ. Chris says, you are a knob, but an authentic, genuine one, which has to be respected. I'll take that, because that's all I've ever wanted to be, is just be me. And if I can be me, then I'm all right with it. What are the caps? They are Through Dark, which is a veterans brand, if anyone's interested. Band Brothers is elite, says G-Dub. Yep. It's incredible. We got up to episode 5 on the ferry over, and I told Spencer he needs to just watch the rest of them. Simple as that. Ibrahimov tearing up the PFL. Thoughts? Yeah, well, Brendan told me a couple of years back about this kid that was fighting out of Ashton, and I was just going to absolutely tune people in. And he was not wrong. Gavin says, how would you like people to remember those who served in Afghanistan and Iraq? Well, fundamentally, there's an enormous difference, because life did not change when, at any one time there must have been, what, at most 15,000 probably deployed across the 2 war zones when we was in Iraq and Afghanistan. Life went on. People were going to Ibiza, people were going to Marbella, people were fucking probably going to Dubai by then, maybe. I don't know if that was a thing by then. People were going to fucking Florida on holiday. United were winning Champions Leagues. Like, life in the UK didn't change. You could quite easily have been living through the whole 20 years of the global war on terror, which we were winning when I left, by the way. So don't blame me. And your life not be impacted by it in the slightest. Now you roll back that to World War One and World War Two. Every town, every village, every parish, every school, every man, woman and child in the country was impacted by that. So I don't think it would be fair to try and demand the same level of respect, feeling, or remembrance that those 2 wars are given. And also, the nature of those wars. World War One's iffy as fuck, right? Why did we get into World War One? Because we told Belgium would bail them out if they ever got into a war. And then why did they get into World War One? Well, they told someone else that they'd bail them out if they ever got in a war. Basically, 7 blokes declared war on each other and fucking 50 million people died. Good one, you fucking pricks. World War Two was different. World War Two was different in terms of Germany were 1,000,000% trying to take over Europe and the world, and that level of tyranny. I mean, it's the greatest war because it's got the greatest storylines, and intrigue and jeopardy. And the villains are amazing, and the costumes are amazing, and the theatres of war are amazing. You've got jungle, you've got beaches, you've got cities, you've got air, you've got land, you've got sea. It's unfathomably good. But the bottom line is, if we had fell in 1940 as a country, they would have taken Britain. And the problem is, if they'd have taken Britain, because this is what people forget, and people misapportion who won World War II. The Soviets had a much bigger hand in it than people want to admit. And people don't want to admit how much of a hand the Soviets had into it, because they then became the enemy throughout the Cold War. So you can't put all of the credit on them. So therefore Britain and the Allies, from Poland, Canada, America, etc., took a little bit more credit than probably was deserved. But it was a combined effort. Without Russia, do America and Britain get the job done? Probably not. But without Britain, does anybody get the job done? Because if the Nazis had have took over Britain, that would have meant that the whole of Western Europe was under Nazi control, and probably quite easy to defend from the Atlantic Ocean, because you're going to spot stuff coming over from the Atlantic Ocean. So then they can put all of their efforts into the Eastern Front, and then they might have stood a chance. That was a meat grinder, the Eastern Front. Now, the fact that they were fighting on 2 fronts at the same time, that weakened them. If they hadn't have had to, if they'd have not, the Atlantic Wall cost something like trillions to build. If they hadn't have had to spend that, they might have been able to put that into more planes and stuff like that. So if Britain had fell in 1940, it could have gone so different, because even with Britain still being there, America had a foothold in Europe to be able to launch from. If they don't have a foothold in Europe to launch from, then they've got to do it from somewhere else, whether that's Africa or whether that's coming round the back and getting on the Russian side. And I don't know if it's doable. And then, the industrial might of America played its own part as well. So I think it's one of those. It's a bit of a mad one, isn't it? Glenn says, has my appreciation of old war stories increased over the years as I've aged gracefully, or did I always have a love for older war stories? I wanted to be in the army since I was 5 years old. What the genesis of that was, I don't know. I had an uncle who served in the Gulf War, and I went over and visited him in Germany after he got back and got shown around tanks and things like that. that probably had a massive influence on it. But you know, I've got books here from the fucking alliest of wars, the Falklands War. This is a magazine collection of. Like, I grew up reading shit like this, man. This is the shit I like. Did I just pause for a second there then? I think I might have just paused. Let me just double check that I'm streaming still, because it might not be. I think it might have paused a second. Is it still on? I'm still live, I think. Yeah. Okay. Shit it then. I just had a quick look. I put this book down on the space bar on my keyboard. I think it stopped it streaming. No pause. Raf says Falklands War is why Argentina and England have beef. I take it, yes, in a big way. Nigel says the history of World War II should be definitely taught more in schools. So the sacrifices of those men are never forgotten. Not just the sacrifices of that, but when I went over to Germany in within weeks of Gulf War One ending, what I must have been 6, 7, something like that. I visited Belsen concentration camp, and I don't know how I can describe when you experience that as a child. It's extremely impactful, and I think it should be mandatory for every child in Europe to have to visit a concentration camp and see what humans are capable of doing to other humans, because it's going to leave a mark. And I think some people need to understand what's possible, I think. But yeah, the Falklands just fascinated the shit out of me as a child growing up. It really did. Shaq says D-Day landing took an effort of loads of nations from the UK, Poland, France, Canada, as well as the Commonwealth. Germany would have struggled if they tried to invade Britain. It would have been bad. Ashkash says thoughts on Sunak leaving D-Day early. You can't 1 week say you want to be bringing back national fucking conscription, and then the next just fucking bouncing to go and do an interview from D-Day. Fucking melon. AF says off topic thoughts on Morata for 10 mil. Makes sense. Umyar says Gaza is a concentration camp. Yeah, and I think that's why my personal opinion on what's happening in Gaza is shaped, because I think that's exactly what's going on. I think people are being treated exactly the same way, and the way Israel is treated, I don't like, and I think if this is any other nation, they would be absolutely fucking condemned and probably invaded for the way that they are treating people and indiscriminately killing people. That's my thoughts. Thoughts on England's chances of the Cricket World Cup? I haven't got a fucking clue. Yeah, they're going to win it. Or no, not this year. Not going to remember. No idea. Razuma says, if Giggsy or Ollie were available, would I take them as the replacement to Ten Hag instead of the current options on hand? I don't think you can go back, and I don't think that Ineos would want to go back. Akash says, why is it our generation seem to think history cannot repeat itself? I don't know. But what's the causes of World War II was World War One. Germany got put under some pretty harsh restrictions and was made to pay some serious reparations for World War One. And the thing is, World War One was almost like a draw, wasn't it, really? It was a bit of a stalemate in the end. Like, I visited some of the battlefields of World War One, and some places there was 4 feet made of progress in 4 years, and probably hundreds of thousands of lives cancelled out for it. The causes of World War One were imperialism. All of the kingdoms, the empires. That was the cause of all of that. Greed, ultimately. So what's different from now? Don't think so. Don't think there's any difference. No, I've still got a lot of friends that are still serving to this day. If we go properly toe-to-toe with Russia, you know, they'll be first in there. And I think as you get older, you maybe realise war's a bit of an adventure when you're young and you kind of want to do it. You kind of want to know if you've got what it takes, but nobody wins in the end. Have I ever read up on 1930s Berlin, how absolutely crazy the stuff I found out after going down the rabbit hole? Oh yeah, the collapse of the Wehrmacht and the collapse of the Deutschmark, was it at the time? Or was it was called something else at the time? Oh, it was insane. It was genuinely insane. What food is better? Middle East, is that Middle East, North American, or British? What's like half the world, isn't it? Like I said, differences now. Countries and empires have bigger nukes now. I don't think there's going to be any nukes. People forget there's only one country that's dropped nukes anywhere. They did it twice. They're the only ones that have done it. And it's been nearly 80 years, 79 years since they did that. And there's only 2 gone. I think if anyone was going to do it, it'd have been done again. I don't think they'll be doing it. Leonard says, why do you hate the Tories so much? Churchill was a Tory and played a key role in the war you're praising us for. Listen, I don't think you can sum up Churchill in a YouTube comment, and I wouldn't attempt to sum up Churchill on a live stream at fucking 9:30 on a Sunday night. Did Churchill have some outstanding leadership qualities? Yes. Was he perhaps the right man with the right level of ballsiness, arrogance, and forceful personality to get things that needed to be done during World War II done? Yes. Was he immediately voted out after Britain won the war? Yes. Now, I wasn't around in 1945, but you'd have to think that the man that most people nowadays, because he got voted for this, so some people at least, some people voted him as the greatest ever Briton. The so-called greatest ever Briton was voted out as Prime Minister. Don't you think re-election should have been a fucking tap-in? Now, perhaps that's worth looking into. Now, he also had some horrendous opinions on anybody not white. And yes, he was from a different age, but he had some opinions that I think probably weren't even of the time, would have not been acceptable. I'm not going to sit here and defend him. I'm just going to say, why do I hate Tories? Because I've got a fucking brain and a heart. I think Tories are just the biggest set of self-serving fucks that are out there. And I think the greatest things about this nation, things like the NHS, and even some of the prosperity that this country has got, that isn't just in the hands of the few, came on the back of Labour governments. Now, right now, there's an election next month, and I don't know if Labour are worth voting for. I feel like they're Tories in a different colour tie. But they're not as bad as the actual Tories. The Lib Dems actually made a lot of progress, but there's a lot of areas, and I live in one of them, where genuinely my vote don't matter. Because it's such a locked-in seat. So it don't matter. And it's the same with some Tory seats. They're just locked in, and it's not going to change. Daniel Berry says the NHS lol. Now, look, the NHS is far from perfect, and see the above for why that is. It's been getting sold off and privatised for the profit of people who donate to the Tory party. The NHS is a wonderful institution, staffed by wonderful people. And it is one of the things that makes Britain as good as it is, which isn't a perfect nation. It's flawed, as is everywhere. But it's... Medical bills are the number one reason people in America go bankrupt. If you could eliminate, if you came in as a government and said, we can eliminate the number one reason people go bankrupt. You know, I got a friend whose missus is struggling at the moment with cancer. And they've got kids, and it's a worry, it's a struggle, and, you know, obviously hope she pulls through and everything's all right. And it's not the first time she's had it. What you don't need when you're trying to fight a fucking cunt of a disease like that is to worry how you're going to pay the £400,000 medical bill that's coming your way. That's the beauty of it. Someone needs an ambulance. My granddad needed an ambulance not long ago. He's retired. He's fucking 80 odd. What you don't need, because he wouldn't be on any medical fucking plan anywhere. What you don't need is a pensioner not calling an ambulance and ending up dying because they can't afford the £1,500 call-out fee to get that ambulance. So yeah, do you need to wait a bit longer for your ACL than you would if you're paying private? Yeah, you do. But does it protect the vulnerable in our society? Yes, it does. And for me, that's what you should always go for. And if that fucking little prick that bailed out on D-Day wants to create national service, then on one hand, I'm all for it. I actually understand a little bit of the reasoning behind why. A little bit of the reasoning behind why they're trying to introduce this. One of them is because the turnaround of troops is you have the way it works in the army is you have a 22-year open engagement with a minimum of 4 years. After 3 years, you can sign off, and then you do 12-month notice. You can sign off at any point. You can sign off at a 15-year point. It's 12-month notice no matter when you sign off. But you can sign off after 3 years, having done essentially 4 years by the time you get out. That's the minimum engagement. And there's something like, I might get the figures wrong on this, but the gist of what I'm talking about here is they've looked at that and said, well, there's an enormous turnover of manpower here. Why not introduce something along the lines of national service for 12 months? I think it was 12 months, wasn't it? Might have been 24 months. And then you're going to equip a certain percentage of the nation with some skills that you undoubtedly do get by being in the military. And it also probably looks at those people who are going to have those short military careers in a certain way and allows those who want the longer military careers to be able to go and do those. So I kind of understand that side of the logic. But again, this is the government that's completely defunded and cut the numbers of the military consistently. If they said, we're going to like triple the spending on defence and we're going to make it a really attractive career for people, then I would get it. But do you know what? No. Malp says it's to give young people some discipline. Well, you can't give people discipline who don't want discipline. And all you're going to do is make it really difficult for those who have to end up training these fuckers. Buffy says, the NHS kept my daughter alive for the past 14 years, free meds. Wouldn't have happened in the USA. One example of millions. Scott says, Thatcher was the best PM this country has seen since World War II. But she's also the one that sold off all the nation's assets to her friends who got rich on the back of it. So it's a bold statement to make when I'm not sure you can do that. Nigel Ray says, the rich politicians telling the poor people in society how to live is completely wrong. Every walk of life should be properly represented and not looked down on like politicians do. Well, it's called the House of Commons, right? How many people are fucking common in the House of Commons? It's like 84% of fucking MPs are millionaires. They are not of the people. Bruce says, when am I doing the fan dance again? New boots or roll the same? What did I learn? What did we learn? We learned a lot, actually. I got my nutrition and hydration bang on. I think them boots are okay for it, but take my feet up from the start. Probably go with the AKUs. Don't know when I'm doing it at the moment because I've got a knee issue that I'm fucking dealing with. I'm in bits with. So it's that. Sam says rich kids will be able to pay their way out of it and poor kids will be left having to do a load of unpaid labour. You know that for a fact. Daniel Berry says the NHS costs 130 billion a year. No such thing as free, my guys. It's free at the point of use. And you know what's more interesting as well with the NHS is that actually Americans contribute more to their healthcare through taxes than Britons do through our taxes, and then they have to pay either insurance costs or just pay at the point of use on top. Of course, nothing's free. There's no such thing as anything being free. But at the same time, if you don't use the NHS, it doesn't cost you anything. And if you do use the NHS, it doesn't cost you anything. You know, it's all dealt with. Christopher says, I have a rare eye problem that's been sorted by the NHS and I'm on expensive drugs for life. Just have to pay the cost of a prescription. Would have literally been tens of thousands private. Do you know what the thing is as well, mate? It probably wouldn't have been tens of thousands private. It probably would have been like £3 a week. But because they know insurance companies are going to pay for it, now that £3 a week is actually 1,700 quid a fucking month. Enjoy that fucking doom. Did I get the latest super chats? I got all the super chats up here. I'll get through to them when I get a chance. Glenn says, what happens to Ireland if Germany took England in 1940? Do the Germans take Ireland because of the big American connection or leave it be? I think it's too big of a threat to be left alone, and I think they would fucking steam in. And if they've took Britain, they can hit Ireland from, 3 or 4 different points? Piece of piss. So, yeah, I think Ireland gets got as well. Bruce has been taking your recommendations on boots. Got the Adidas Terex. Walk with my Akita a bunch in the hills and the mountains. Appreciate the views on the gear. Nice one. Jockey says, evening, Janine. Yeah, Janine's in the chat. Alex says, wrong one. Greedub says, NHS sluss after the millions of visitors we have in the UK as well. Yeah, that's a shock to some people, I think. But yeah. Notch says, I have to wear a heart monitor fitted for 2 weeks recently. Wonder how much I've had to pay outside of the NHS. What blows my mind is I Googled this when Janine was pregnant, and it cost about 100,000 to give birth. 100,000 to give birth. And that's before there's any complications. It's just a straight 100 grand. Absolutely madness. Raf says, favourite Euros memory? Can't look past the Pirlo masterclass on England in 2012 for me. It was more of a John Terry disaster class than a fucking Pirlo masterclass. Go watch him and just look how bad his positioning is. Favourite Euros one, Gazza's goal for England. The whole... So, Euro 96 I was into. I hadn't been burnt by what happened with Beckham yet. So, Euro 96, I can just remember hot summers, and it wasn't even summer, to be honest, was it? 3 lines on a shirt. Honestly, it sounds so fucking wanky and naff now, but believe me, in 96 it didn't. Everyone bought into it. It was cool. Badil and Skinner were cool and not washed up old bells like they are now. They were cool. Lightning Seeds were kind of cool as well. And it was like everyone got into the fucking mix with it, man. That Euro, sort of like England and Holland, was a hell of a game. I got to watch Croatia and Italy at Old Trafford. Fucking brilliant. Old Trafford. We watched every game that was at Old Trafford, me and my dad. It was just good. It was a real good Euros. We had a golden goal. That was new. Alex says it's still cool. It's not fucking cool. McAllister missed a penalty. Wasn't good. It wasn't if you're Scottish. But fucking Yuri Geller thinks he moved that penalty. Now, actually, if you go back and watch it, the ball does move before he hits it, but Yuri Geller thinks he did it, the fucking crazy spoon-bending weirdo. Fucking, yeah. Oh, my God. Go and have a look. Southgate or boss up and get, or Ten Hag or boss up and get Carlo. You're not getting Carlo, are you? Ben says Fabrizio basically said Tuchel and United couldn't agree because he wants a break for a year. Feels like they would have sacked Ten Hag if they'd have got Tuchel at the start now. It does. It's quite interesting. Sam says, I know a guy who was in a coma for 6 months, cost the NHS $1 million, and he paid it back through donations for charitable challenges. Some boy, well done. Dublin John says, my favourite Euro moment was Howson in '88 and then the Whelan goal against USSR. Stephen Harris, Van Basten goal. I wasn't watching football in '88, so I have seen it since because I did get a bit of a thing for. I have been heavily influenced because I started watching football around 1990. Heavily influenced by both AC Milan and Dutch football, and obviously that Dutch trio that played for AC Milan with Carlo Ancelotti, actually, ironically, around that time. Big time. David says Euro 2000 was one of my faves. That Italy squad, the white Italy kit. Was that the Kappa era Italy kit? It was a decent kit, that. Jibak says, as a migrant, the NHS is one of the main reasons I don't want to leave ever. Accessible healthcare is a fundamental right and so few countries do it. There you go. Akash says Euro 2004 was epic, especially Germany losing in the groups and the performance of Wayne Rooney. The emergence of Wayne Rooney. Can't look around Gaza's goal the same after the Les Ferdinand story. Oh, he just wanted to have a hold of it. So I listened to both the episodes of The Rest is Football, which I've got Gaza on, and it made me think, no one else has ever had Gaza on, or certainly no high-profile podcasts have ever had Gaza on. There probably was a lot of editing, I can imagine, with Gaza. He does like the old Tim Vine style sort of punchline joke kind of combo, doesn't he? But it was a good listen. It was a good listen, and I think if you can get him to calm down on the jokes, I think he'd be a fantastic podcast guest. But he's a good listen, and he's had a lot of life experience in his short career, really. Tanner says, love your content. Any advice I can give dealing with depression? Thanks in advance. For me, the thing that got me out of my funk was purpose. It's just having something to sort of focus on and to feel like you can accomplish. That for me was the biggest thing. That, and I tried to follow Andrew Huberman's kind of principles of sleep is very important. If you start fucking your sleep up, that things start unraveling pretty fucking quick if you're not sleeping properly. But the problem with depression is you only want to sleep all the fucking time. So what you got to do is get an early night, not be on your phone, and then get up in the morning and get some sunlight in your eyes. And things like that really do matter. Don't lie in bed all day on your phone. It's dopamine that you don't need. It's shit dopamine. I've been on and off with a bit of a bedtime routine. I have a dock like right here, like right there even. And I have 2 phones. There's only one here at the moment. And one phone is my gym phone, and on that is only music, podcasts, and my gym apps like my Whoop app and things. That's it. That is it. And I'm trying to get into the routine of when I wake up in the morning, just use that. So what I have done quite well for a few months is I have a dock in the cupboard in my bedroom. So we have it's got a vanity unit, like a mirror, shelves and shit behind the cupboard. And I have a dock in there, and I've been putting my phone in my dock. I've been putting an eye mask on. They work, by the way. And they work, especially if you've got a wife like mine that just fucking gets on Instagram and reads books on her phone and stuff. It glows. I need darkness to sleep. So I put an eye mask on. It's a Whoop one. Pretty good one, actually. Stick my eye mask on. I put a podcast on. I'm not going to say the word because there's one of them in here. But the Amazon speaker device, you know the one? There's one of them here. There's one in my bedroom as well. And I put a podcast or an audio book on. And then I go to sleep. And that's really, really helped me get like a pretty good night's sleep, but also get up early in the morning because I haven't got a phone. And then sometimes I don't. I end up like having a conversation with someone as I'm going to bed, and I end up fucking it up then, and then I can be on my phone. But what I'm trying to get to is the point where my actual phone stays here, and my gym phone stays in a vanity downstairs in my room. And then when I get up in the morning, because my alarm's on the Amazon audio device, my alarm is on that. So I just get up, grab my phone, and go work out in the morning. That's the routine I'm trying to get into. And having that sort of purpose can fucking help as well. And then obviously trying to plan it out, like this is my gym plan that I'm trying to get into. Monday, rest. Pigeonhead says the Van Persie header in 2014. That was World Cup though, wasn't it? Was that World Cup? That was World Cup. Yeah, not Euros, that. Notch says Euro 96 was shit. Italy went out early. Patrick says I'm done with football if Southgate comes in. Mike says Poch can't even beat a soccer aid team. Notch says Whoop has been excellent for monitoring my sleep. It's fucking great, in it, the Whoop. Genuinely. I'm nearly I'm over 1,200 days deep now, so yeah. JDM says, get that malware out your house. See, this is like, I am a fucking walking paradox in many regards, right? So on one hand, I have a 30-year-old car because I'm thinking, and it's diesel, because I'm thinking, fucking goddamn government, not shutting me down. Nope, no sir. And I don't want an electric car because I'm like, nope, they're going to shut me off one day, and then, nope. And what if the zombies come, right? I think about those things. So I have a 30-year-old fucking Land Rover that can go anywhere because possible paranoia. But at the same time, I have one of these fuckers in every room of the house. There's one here. There's one there. I have one in the kitchen, one in the back room in a lean-to. Like, I just... Yeah, you're right. Probably eavesdropping in on every single conversation I have. But like I said, I'm a paradox. This is what it is. Stephen says the IRL channel was a kick up the arse I needed to get out in the peaks. Mental health has never been better. Loving it. Some of my players have started hiking on the back of having a look at it with us, which I'm really buzzing off because I agree. I think there's been some brilliant mental health benefits to it. I try to explain to Ash because Ash just goes, I don't fucking get it. There's clearly some dopamine rewards to getting out hiking. Now, for me, visually, I just love how nature looks. Mountains and lakes and forests and shit are, visually appealing to me, aesthetically appealing. I like how it all looks. So I enjoy the views visually. But there's clearly more than that because they're fucking hard. So you wouldn't just fucking go and do that like, yeah, nice view. So I'm obviously getting some sort of dopamine and serotonin from the completion of like getting to a mountaintop or something. Aaron says, which mountains are next for IRL channel? The weather is shite for June, annoying. So I honestly, I don't know. So injuries have fucked me a little bit. I am booked in for an ultramarathon in September, which is less than 100 days away, and I might be shitting it a little bit that I am not going to be fit enough to do that in time. I've got a sore heel from I don't know what, and a sore knee from I don't know what. I don't know if I'm just old and absolutely fucking crumbling. It's likely, I'm going to be honest. And then I'm doing something with the army, which is another ultramarathon, only a month after that, which is mental, innit? Because even if I complete that one in September, being fit enough after 4 weeks, so that 4 weeks I'm just going to be like mush. There's not a prayer I'm going to be fit enough to be able to go and do it again in 4 weeks after that, I'm sure. But yeah, I'm sort of booked in for those things, and I just need to sort of focus and get training on those. So I might do some like little hikes and things like that, but I won't be doing anything major. I'm probably going to be doing a little bit more on my bike, to be honest, just to stay off my feet because I'm in fucking tatters with it. Dan says it's probably old Steve. My back kills me these days. Do you know what? I was saying to my mate Stu, I'm doing the ultramarathon with, He's had bad knees since we were teenagers. I grew up with him, known him since I was born, right? And he's had knee operation after knee operation after knee operation, and then from playing rugby and through the army and just being fucking heavy at the moment and trying to climb mountains and do all the shit that I've done. I've never had any knee problems. I've had ankle problems and I've had calf problems, but I've never had any knee problems, none. And even with like MMA and being on the floor and wrestling and things like that, I've never had any knee problems. So I sort of said to him, like, with this, I thought I tore my meniscus. That's what it feels like. And I just said, like, if this is a knee problem that I've got, like, and it is a meniscus tear that's going to need an op to fix, well, it's fucked me for anything this year if that's what it is. But also, I think it's kind of the price you pay. I think if I have got to the stage where I do need a knee op, well, I had a good fucking run at it without having a knee op. So one of those, innit? Jason says, I met Wes Brown and Dennis Irwin last night. Talk about playing, how good he was. Dennis Irwin, a legend and a real gentleman, and not a bad baller either, and a fucking good old drinker as well. Yeah. Daniel says, I like the elegance of a sword. What? Where did that come from? Me too, but okay. Funky Chicken says, my body started going when I passed 35. Oh, the thought of going out on a smash like for an all-day session at the moment makes me want to throw up. I'd rather do the ultramarathon. And I think I'd probably recover faster from the ultramarathon than I would from a fucking drinking session. Bruce says, being able to do something you know is difficult is a freeing sensation. The more you do, the better it gets. Just don't let plantar fasciitis keep you down. More tape. More tape, yeah. I bought fucking right loads. I've got enough tape. I've got enough tape for even if the zombies come. We're good. Can't beat a hike on Cora Patrick on a Sunday morning overlooking the west coast of Ireland is sublime. Beautiful part of the world, yeah. If I didn't have Italian boots, Predators or Puma Kings in the 90s, you weren't cool. I've just bought a couple pairs of custom Mundials for this season. Ones which are the Predator look, which are the red tongue and the elastic to take the tongue down, and a set of blackout ones as well. I can feel myself drawn towards dumping a whole load of cash on a set of original, is it the Precisions from 1998? The Beckham ones from 98. And potentially even the original Preds as well. But also maybe some... Oh, I have already got a set of blackout Tiempos. But I mean, I shouldn't be fucking rocking boots anyway, but I feel like I need boots, especially when I'm wearing shorts. I don't feel right on a training pitch not wearing boots, you know what I mean? Apna says, just Steve shouting like Brian Blessed, more tape. Akash says, remember the black Tiempo football boots, very retro, man. Yeah, and I have a set of Puma Kings as well. They're a bit tight, they're a bit narrow, the Puma Kings, so I don't rock them too often. But I have got Kings, I've got Tiempos, I've got 2 sets of Mundials, and I'm definitely probably going to end up getting the Preds. Any famous signings for Paddock this summer? Depends what you mean by famous. There might be some interesting signings coming up. See how Tuesday goes. Cameron says, had a set of the grey Preds with a Beckham logo. Class. I remember those ones. B-Man says, all right, Steve, not caught you on a live again. Hope all is well. Really enjoying the IRL videos. Cheers. Janine says, you don't need any more shoes. Now, that might be true, but we all have to have an addiction. Scott says, defo not. Oh, he's talking about his sword again, isn't he? Peter Carroll says, when football boots had tongs. Yeah, I can't get on board with the sock style ones. I have to stay with the leather ones of my ute. I'm fucking 40, man. Like, I'm literally allowed black only. And I don't even think I'd get away with, like, a white out boot. I'm going to have to win some shit for me to pull out some of those, I think, innit? Glenn says, the wife doesn't believe me that subs were made for warfare. She thinks they were made for exploring first and then war. Help me out here. I believe submarines were American Civil War era. Am I right? I think that's when they were made. Yeah, they weren't made for fucking James Cameron to fucking potter about the ocean in. As he says, did I catch any of the Denmark game? I'm curious how Højlund looked. I've seen fucking nothing of any of the friendlies, and I'm quite happy about that. What do I like about Through Dark? I like the look. I like the quality of the material. I like that it's veteran owned. I like that it's not. I was gonna say it's not everywhere. Like you don't see anyone wearing it really, but I am seeing a lot more people wearing it. I mean the gilet is Through Dark as well. I don't know. This material looks strange, but it feels fucking great on, and I like it. Vertigo says football boots are ridiculous these days. Peter Carroll says same HD, and I concur. I think we're talking about boots there. Samuel says massive respect for the Alan Turin top on the topic of Janine. What's everyone's thoughts on the new paddock kit? I got the I think I can pull the shirt up here. One sec. We've deviated. We have deviated a little bit with the design. And instead of being red, because obviously we're inspired by United, we have red shirts, white shorts, black socks, but we're not this season. This season coming up, we are like this. So, just put it to the side like that. Oh, I don't know how to fucking do it. So that's the kit for next season. I'll pull me to the side a bit. That one. No, can't do it. So that's the kit for next season. And we are red and black, half and half. So yeah, let us know what your thoughts are on it. It's got a quote from Alan Turin on the arm, which I think has gone down really, really well, actually. Let me know your thoughts. What are my thoughts on a Tic Tac box shin pads players wears these days? I find it hilarious. I find it genuinely hilarious. And I think there's a bit of a competition going to see who can wear the smallest, most non-existent shin pad. B-Man says, new kit looks wicked. I think I want one. We might drop a pre-order tomorrow because we don't know what sizes to order, and we need to order them like next week to make sure that they're going to be here, and we don't want people to miss out. Brian says, love the kit, different and unique. Buffy says, Codebreaker kit is brilliant. Yeah, I like it. Blackburn Away 97, looking good, and I like the thought process behind it, says Mark. Has everyone seen the video then? Yeah. Anthony Jarvis says, love the quote, looks good, cool kit, clean. A lot of people saying that. Garlic Breadman says, hello Steve, saw the paddock video, it's a clean looking kit, new kit looks clean. Yeah. Ryan says, paddock is now going to be its own football club rather than a Man United fans paddock football club. Well, it was always kind of doing that, but we always wanted to move it off in its own sort of direction. It wasn't a protest club. It's not anti-United in any way. It's, you know, paying homage to United, and I think we can exist in the football pyramid, and work alongside United. Actually, we will see. Ralph says, Elon Musk sponsoring it. Why the X? Well, the X. Can you not read what it says? Is it too small? So the X says Price Works in the middle of it, and we will be giving you some information about that maybe tomorrow, maybe in a couple of days. We will see. But that's this season's sponsor, so you will have to see. Can we do custom names on the back? I don't think we're going to do custom names on the back unless you want to wait 6 weeks for it. I don't think it's going to happen. It might happen, but I don't think so. What's the story behind Definitely Maybe? Bit of artwork. It was written by, it's handwritten by the guy at Microdot that wrote Definitely Maybe. It's a 1 of 1. Signed to me as well. To Steve, remember, it's all part of the master plan. That's what it says. Finley says, love the kit, black shorts, red socks. No, I'm not doing red socks. Red socks seem a bit scouse to me, so we're going to do white socks and red and black. White shorts, red and black socks. Although when we play on grass, we'll wear black shorts because them grass stains are a motherfucker. It's going to be a bit of a flamenco kind of vibe. Doc says, please drop pre-orders. I need a free XL because American. Jockey says, hopefully it's a trophy-winning kit this season. Thank you. Yes. 3 stadiums I want to visit in the world. I really want to visit. Want to go to a game in Mexico. I think La Bombonera. I want to do the Red Star Partizan game. I mean, I'm pretty fucking lucky, really, that Vidic has invited me to come to one. I just got to make it work. But I do want to go to a game with Vidic. That's fucking cool, isn't it? Let's be honest. I'd like to go to a game in Senegal. Looks outrageous. I'd like to go to a game in Japan as well. I think I like experiencing different cultures. I think it's cool. Ben says Jacob Steinberg is a massive bell. Yep. C Fence says the kit is fire. Ryan says, before you started Paddock FC, you said people can't and shouldn't support 2 teams. Have I changed my mind, or is it because Paddock is much lower down? It's fine. People support 2, like, technically Paddock will be in the same league, same competition as United in the FA Cup, but not really. Because we'd need to win, like, 10 games to get to the level that United are at, and it doesn't happen. No, I don't think you should support 2 teams, but that's more like talking about, oh, I support fucking a team in the Championship and a team in the Premier League, and I still believe that. You know, United are not on the same level as Trafford Paddock. This will be a grassroots team. We will be, if I get my way, Paddock will be a 55-team club, and 54 of those teams will be junior teams. You know, it will be about developing players, and it will be, hopefully, working in tandem with United to create those players. I want them to start their footballing career at Paddock, and I want them to go on and play for Manchester United. That's what I want to do. Have I been to Japan? No, I have not. Do I have any thoughts on Shaw's injury comments? Yeah, I saw some people try and flip that into blaming Ten Hag. Luke Shaw himself says, me and the medical team have probably fucked up there. I would presume, because I don't know the score here, but I would presume that the medical team give the okay, and the player gives the okay, and then the manager selects them. You're asking a professional fucking athlete to be honest about their state of their physical condition. I don't think it's unreasonable for a player to take responsibility. It's a bit fucking childish for a senior pro like Luke Shaw, who's had serious injuries in his career, to just be like, I can play, coach, put me in. Like, if you go, no, I'm not fucking fit, then no, I'm not fucking fit. And if the medical team are passing him off, well, they're not fit for fucking purpose, are they? The manager will, if the manager gets the green light, he's playing you, right? He's not forcing people to play through injuries, is he? Because he wouldn't do that. And if he is, he needs fucking off, because that's not right. But when Luke Shaw said, maybe me and the medical team fucked up, I think that lets you know who the people are that have allowed him to play like that. Notch says, loads of non-league grassroots teams have a big pro team they also follow and support. Yeah, we will never be a professional team. So in my eyes, as long as we're never a pro team, which we never will be, then it doesn't fucking matter, does it? Daniel says, it's your body, you need to tell people the truth. Yeah. Akash says, I think Shaw left back playing days are over. I'd convert him into a centre-half and save his career. Scott says, take Fletcher Moss's place as the most famous feeder club in Manchester. That's what I want to do. Janine says, yeah, we did Bletchley on our anniversary. Loved it. That must be in connection to the Alan Turing thing. Yeah, we did. It's fantastic. The film's cool. I don't know how much of it's accurate, but the film's cool. And also, the fucking story's cool. On multiple levels. Would Romero be a good partner for Martinez? Potentially. Day Stuff says you can't be Adidas black boots, Copper Mundials, or even the Kaiser 5s. Yeah, I'll be on Coppers. What's your thoughts on managerial attire? I feel comfortable in like I wear shorts a lot on the sideline actually, until it gets too cold and I don't, and then I wear sort of like chinos with boots and usually a bit of a winter coat. But I don't know. I've never really felt comfortable to be in a tracksuit. That makes sense? Don't know. I don't know. Are the size of the paddock kit what you'd expect from a United one? Never ordered paddock before. Well, there's a size guide off Fused, and that's all I could say to you at the moment because it's one of those. Disco Stew says pre-order for Codebreaker this week. I think potentially yes. Kyle says, do you ever have an ambition to be a pro team? Has it always been that way? No. Well, yes, it's always been the way that we don't have the ambition to be a professional team. And it would be genuinely... I know Dorking kind of went from... I think they started like 7 or 8 levels below where Paddock started even. And obviously I've got to step 1, National League. They got relegated. I think they spent 2 years in National League and got relegated. I think they have 15 promotions, which is outrageous. They could have got to League 2. There was, they got within a division of it, and they believe that they can get there again. And I'm sure that they'll probably do it. They've done so well to get where they've got. So I'm not going to say it's impossible to do, but I don't think people truly understand how much money flows in and out of non-league football. And I wouldn't have to limit the ambition of Paddock. External forces of budgets will limit the ambition of Paddock. Like, we might get some good players and we might get to Northwest Counties, you might get to Northern Prem, but we'll probably never be able to compete financially with what some players are paying people. There's a player that used to play for Paddock, right? The player that used to play for Paddock who's been offered £1,000 a week to play football. And he's still non-league. So we will never be in a position to do that. Never. And I don't think I would want to be in a position to do that. I want that reputation. I want to make Kobe Mainoos. I want to make 25 Kobe Mainoos for Manchester United. And that'll be... Yes, we can go and have fun, and hopefully we get some Wembley trips in the FA Vars and things like that with the first team. But the first team's going to exist to be a vehicle to develop players, to move them into places like United. And if they don't end up playing for United, but they end up playing for, like, I don't know, Rochdale and Stockport or whatever, or maybe even they play for another Premier League team, but they don't get an England thing, then that's a win for us. And I want to do that. Ryan says, Steed, a manager for Dorking is a bell end. Worked for the guy a while back, complete muppet. Well, he's very outspoken. He's very, very outspoken, but I think he's a character, and he obviously loves football, and I got time for that. Tino says, how did it feel doing all the work putting up the tent while Steve just videoed? I didn't just video, actually. She videoed. I didn't even do that. I saw a lot of those comments, and I reject your fucking comments. No one asked who drove us down there, did they? For 6 hours. So we have a little bit of a thingy. If I drive, Janine puts the tent up. Them's the rules. So Janine filmed putting the tent up. It's partnership. Joey says, is there a better World War II documentary series than The World at War? And did I hear Fergie give Rooney the box set when he became manager of Derby? No, I didn't hear that. What the fuck? Connor says, holding my firstborn right now. Fantastic. Well done, mate. Named Evra? No. That's pretty cool. I like it. Let me take a screenshot of this. All right, I'm going to send that to someone. And I will show you the reply if I get one on air. One sec, let me just send this off to Uncle Pat and see if he gets it. Has he not just been playing at Soccer Aid? He's probably not going to get this text, is he? Or is that finished? I've missed this super chat from earlier from Paul. Says, we cast Varane, Tony Shaw all needing replacing, ideally another centre back, all a limited budget. Should we be signing yet another right winger or a lower priority? I think they're going to need to be extremely prudent in where we spend any money. I think spending 65 million on don't know for sure if he's going to start like Mason Mount would be a real bad fucking thing. Prabhav says, are the economics of Paddock sustainable? Yes, and we will be showing our finances to our members at the AGM in terms of what we bring in, how much we spend. Realistically, we need our own gaff. We get our own gaff and we are flying, because the biggest expense for us, it's literally, I think it's 60 grand we're looking at for this year for pitch hire, and that's not even our place. You know, we are literally an hour at a time on different places. It's the biggest outlay. Facilities and kit cost us, honestly, a complete fucking fortune. But, you know, it's what we're there for. And I'm hoping we're doing some good stuff in football. So if you want to get involved, click the link. There's over 1,000 members, and we're going to do some madness. We will do some madness. Carl says, what's my thoughts on hashtag? How far do I think they could go? Would you say they're similar to Paddock? They're similar in a few ways, yeah. I mean, they're not fan-owned the same way we are. They've done fucking sensationally well. They've got a great manager in Devs. Spencer's a real football guy as well. They obviously come at it from a bit more of a gaming kind of angle. But yeah, I think they've done really well, and they've turned up a bit of non-league football on its head, which is good. Tim says, could you not ground share? Well, we are ground sharing, but you still can't find training facilities. Like, I could click my fingers and have about 50 kids teams like right now, because the interest is there, but I can't put them anywhere. I've got coaches, I've got players, and the rest of it's not a problem, but I cannot find the facilities. Last season, we contacted over 50 different 3G pitches in and around Manchester trying to get more time on a pitch. It just doesn't exist. It's not there. You need more places. It's simple as that. Ryan says, would it not be cheaper to pick up some land and pop a pitch on it? Somewhere in a village or on the outskirts of town would cheaper than long-term renting pitches all the time. In theory, yes, it's a great theory, but where is this pitch? As a team called Stretford Paddock, I can't play in Northwich. I couldn't play in Bury, could I? You know, we are really stuck within the inside of the M60, and whereabouts in the M60 do you find enough place for a pitch that you can just buy? And do you know how much a 3G pitch is? Because you can't train on grass all the time. If you have a grass pitch, get away with training on it maybe once a week. You need a 3G pitch or a 4G pitch. Do you know how much they are? £1 million. So, if someone has a few £1 million, you're more than welcome to come and fucking help the club out. But the only way I think we're going to do it is through our membership. We get something like 10,000 members, and we've got over 1,000 now, supposedly 1,300. I mean, who's the latest member in the chat? Like, who's got the highest number? We've done the who's got the lowest number in the chat before, but who's got the highest number? We're at 13 something in terms of members. So if we can get to 10,000, and you know, I don't need to do that by a week on Saturday. We're going to be here forever. So if we can eventually get there, then 10,000 members will allow us to do whatever the fuck we want. G-Dub says lottery funding. Yeah, but do you know what? You can't get lottery funding without your own gaff. It's like Catch-22. If we had a gaff that was fucked, that needed upgrading, we would get the money to do it. But we haven't got a gaff, so there's nothing we can get. Tino in a super chat says, "How's a drink on me, Janine? Deserve it for putting up with his melon. Cheers. Keep up the great work, both of you up the fucking paddock." Ben Etchells in the comments says 1012. We've got Scott, who is 1282. That might be one of the highest ones we've got. There's not many behind you. Acid says, I lay free on 4G pitches. Put me up on sponsorship for advertising. I'll happily do it discounted. Fucking deal. But I haven't got a pitch that you can lay it on. That's the problem. And I know pitches can go down in like a matter of a couple of months. Like if we had a gaff, and you know, okay, we'd actually agreed last year. We actually agreed a sale on a gaff. That's a grass pitch with a bit of a ground around it. That's no longer in use. And then the guy changed his mind and asked for more money off us. It's one of them, innit? Stephen says, my lad Erik got offered a place to study at RNCM in Manchester, and quoted Steve's take on a music scene in Manchester in his interview. What was my take on the music scene? Ant says, anything from your time in Normandy, interested to hear how that went. Sorry if we've spoken about it already. We did cover it already, but yeah, I just said, you know, I'm really pleased that I went, and probably for other reasons as well. Like, I didn't know how many people I knew were going to be there, but without having all of those people, I wouldn't have known what to do, to be honest. It was just mad. Ryan says, that's where the land comes in. Buy some land that isn't currently pitches, so it will be cheaper. Then pop the discounted 3G pitch in here from our friend in the above chat. There's no land for sale. If you wanted to be in Stretford, there is literally nowhere that you could buy. There is no green space in Stretford. Not even just none for sale, there's no green space. There is Turnmoss and there is Longford Park. I think that is it. Or Stretford Meadow, which is a dedicated green space. There's no like wasteland in Stretford. It's too busy. You're just not getting anything. Irish Oreo says, just put down grass pitch and accept the conditions will be poor, or is that off the table? Yeah, it's totally off the table. You can't operate a club on a grass pitch. You just can't. So the calculations I have is you can do, I think it's 52 teams on a single 4G pitch. So you can be a club. You can be a club over the course of a week, training in different slots on different days. You can build a club. If I could only have one team training on that pitch every week, well, I'm not a club, I'm a team. You might as well be a Sunday League team. I don't want to be a Sunday League team. I want to be a club. Like, I'm not creating the next Kobe Mainoo on a single pitch that only one team gets to train on. You have to be 4G. Daniel Berry says land is not cheap in Manchester. It's not that it's not cheap, it's just not. There just isn't any. Neville says Ahmed. I mean, actually, weirdly, ironically, Carrington and the surrounding areas, and Carrington Industrial has got a lot of land around it, but it's not necessarily going to be land that you can use for doing anything. It's also fucking miles away. You know, and if we've got tons of kids from the city centre who play for us, which we have, there's no public transport to get them down there. Michael says multi-story pitches for the way forward. Ahmed says get investment from Gary Neville. Yeah, people just throw around millions all the time. He's got his own club. Literally got his own club. It's not going to happen, is it? Kerfuffle says, shit this day and age where Prem gets so much money that none of the money filters down to grassroots. Yeah, GG on Normandy visit. Yeah, like I think there should be a hell of a lot more. Son of Fire says, don't Charlton and West Disbury run their club on Hardy Farm, just grass? No, it's unplayable on the regular though. Don't know, but I don't think they train there. I think you might have one venue for matches, but we shared with Drozen this season. We played 7 games there, and essentially won this calendar year. I think it's unworkable, and that's 2. Verti Joe says, I just became a member, number 1325. Well, there you go. G-Dub says, start a GoFundMe, 750,000 subscribes to Stretford Paddock, even £1 each. the thing is, though, that not everyone is interested in doing that. You know, so I'm grateful for all of the people that are interested in getting involved, and that's why we made it democratic. We made it democratic so people can actually have a say in running a football club. And I know we're not unique, and I know that there's options out there if people want to do it. So I'm really grateful for how people have decided that they're going to do it with us. AJ Wright says, saw in your story you were in Portsmouth. Did we just stop off or sail through? We sailed to Normandy from Portsmouth on a ferry. So yeah, just stopped off sailing through, really. Mandeep says, come to India and gain a lot of fans. We're 1.4 billion out here. Connor says, Heads Gone podcast is the best on 5, I must say. We've got another new member, 1326. Brilliant. Scott says, we should start a GoFundMe page with all the paddock subs. You can get a good wedge to start with. But it'd be nice to fan crowdfund it. It would. I don't know how feasible and legal all that sort of stuff is in terms of the way we're operating as a CIC. The one thing that we were doing, we were looking for investment, and the way that investment was going to work was a landlord and tenant agreement. So, you know, let's say Mr. Businessman comes in, purchases the either existing stadium or parcel of land, renovates it and batters it with paddock badges everywhere. We agree a lease, and I'll be honest with you, it was a bit fucking eye-watering, but it was doable. And built into the lease was an agreed sale price at the cost of build, plus I think it was like 5% compounding every year or something like that. So it was more than, they get more than their money's worth. I think over the course of 25 years, it was like 19 million, something like that, that we'd have been paying. So it would have been a hell of a fucking lot for us to do, but it would have meant that in the long term, we would have owned our own stadium as a fan-owned entity, which would have been, honestly, incredible, wouldn't it? And I think that would have been the one. Jay Washington says, I run a CIC. There's a ton of funding you can get. Jump in my DMs on Instagram then if you can help. And that's the one. Connor says, if I could plug Paddock with 2 current United players, who and why? Me, Bruno and Martinez. Well, I think you got to look at what you want to represent. And I think initially, I think Rashford, Mainoo, but then that would be too localised. The Stretford part of it is important because those are the kids that are going to hopefully be the ones that go on and play for United. But I also think we have genuine worldwide appeal, and to me, community doesn't mean, you know, people with an 01614 phone number. Community can be anything, and I think we're proving that we can do community across the globe. Community doesn't have to just be limited by location. I'm certain of that. So, yeah, I think Martinez has got a lot of the characteristics I like. I think Bruno's got a lot of the characteristics I like. But I'm thinking Rashford or Mainoo have to be in there as well. I know Rashford's not going through it. He's not the flavour of the month at the moment, but still, he's a local lad that has achieved a hell of a lot in the game. And I think that's huge. Yeah. Tolkien says, any massive factories nearby? I mean, loads. They used to put racetracks on top of them, so you may be able to get a pitch on one. You need a stadium, though, don't you? You need a stadium. That's the top and bottom of it. Tino says, subscribers are not necessarily supporters. 95 could be behind the club. Doesn't mean 95 can afford sparing funds to invest in club goals. Correct. I mean, yeah, there is funding out there for stuff, and I think FC United didn't put that much, maybe a quarter, something like that, towards their own stadium, which I think was 6.5 million. So it's possible, but it's still fucking dear to do, and it took them 10 years to sort one out. So it's one of them, innit? How long before we can get an ex-Paddock player into the Prem? I would think we're going to need to have under 7s, under 8s, under 9s, under 10s first. and then probably a couple of years of running that, and then, you know, what age? Let's say they're 9, another 10 years on top of that before you're going to see that. So probably 15 or 20 years away, probably. But I'm in it for the long haul. I'm not fucking going away. I'm going to do that. There's a few things, like if I can tick 3 boxes, build our own ground or buy, renovate, you know, somewhere that we can call home. It's got a fucking paddock badge over it. You know, it's fantastic sharing with people, and I'm grateful for the opportunity, but we want our own gaff, ultimately, long term. That's number 1. That is the number 1 goal. 2, playing the FA Cup. And I'll get that done. The ground might be harder, but I'll get the FA Cup one done. And then create a play for Manchester United. One of those, isn't it? AJ Wright says, could we not convince Rio to dust off his boots? Rio can't. Rio's fucked. His back's fucked. Son of Fire says, Rashford visits my lad's school on the regular, doing work with the kids there, does great stuff locally. I always think a lot of him for that. People don't see that stuff today. Zana says, forget the Ballon d'Or. Who's going to be the best under 21 of the Euros? Yamal, Mainoo, Bellingham, Wirtz, Musiala. So much talent. There is some serious talent, isn't there? Provo says, is maintenance easy on the old Land Rover? I take it to the garage about fucking 300 metres away. So yeah, it's pretty easy actually. Samuel says, do Salford have much of an academy presence around Manchester? Doesn't seem to be something Gino speaks about much. Not that I've seen, no. And I know that our what will be under 16s next season, well, they were still under their old team name, beat Salford 4-1 about 2 weeks ago. Same age group. So if that happens again next season, you might accidentally hear about it by me being maybe tweeting it at the game. Brennan says, if someone had to do it, I'd nominate myself to come play for Paddock, and then go United. Ignore the fact that I'm over 35. Wayne says, I keep watching the second goal against City, and I really think that it was one of the best goals we've ever scored. It's fucking great, wasn't it? And it was weird watching it. When Rashford hit that ball, I went, oh, it's a fucking good pass, that is. That is a good pass. James says, have I watched Generation Kill? Would I recommend it? Yes. I would especially recommend it if you're a veteran. Civvies don't seem to get it. Civvies do not seem to get it. But yes, I would recommend it. Rich says, are we just going to find out who's the manager when we look in the dugout for the Community Shield? Fucking might do. It's chaos, isn't it? It really fucking is. And or maybe not. Maybe they've just gone, it's Ten Hag, and like all of everyone else is making this drama and we're not fucking doing anything about it. Absolute shit show, innit? Jonathan says, do I listen to the We Have Ways of Making You Talk podcast with Al Murray and James Holland? They just did a D-Day 10 episode each, an hour long. Was absolutely fabulous, poignant and entertaining. Yes. Have I listened to it? I think there's a fucking very good chance. I'll turn my brightness down on my phone. I think there's a very good chance. I'm up to episode 8. I don't know if you can see that. Let me, not showing? Yeah, I'm up to episode 8. Oh, I'm up to episode 9 because I've just finished that episode. How serious, if you are having suicidal thoughts? It's pretty fucking serious, mate, yeah. It's absolutely serious. And people are going to tell you, go speak to a doctor, go speak to a family member, this, that, and the other. And I guess that is the advice. But I'll tell you this, I wouldn't have. And I know that if you are having suicidal thoughts, then the last thing... PTSD and depression have got a few things that are linked, where the thing that you need to do to get out of it is the thing that you really don't want to do. People with PTSD, people with depression... A symptom of those things is not wanting to fucking disclose those things. And it's extremely fucking difficult to put that out to people that you know and that you care about. You might find it easier putting it out to people like us being anonymous on the internet like this. If that's the case, then fucking keep doing it. And I'll stay on here all night if we have to just fucking chat to you about it. But in my experience, people probably noticed and maybe don't really know how to talk to you about that. But yeah, it's fucking serious. It is serious. And I don't know if... obviously, I'm not a fucking doctor, right? When people go, it's a disease, that to me never fucking sat right. It's clearly a condition, right? It's clearly a condition. And it's a condition that you're going to have to fucking want to work through. And I know you probably don't want to work through it, but you have to. And I guarantee you, even though, and believe me, I've been there, the best course of action feels like, you know what, I can't be arsed with this shit. And that's the... like, it's never as serious as it feels, ever. And there's days where you go, I just can't be arsed. And that, for me, was the overriding kind of fucking feeling. But you got to find a purpose and you got to go and talk to somebody. And if you fucking reach out to someone and they pie you, well, then fucking come back on here and chat to me. But I'd be very surprised if a family member does that. Now, I do get that. Not everyone. I'm lucky because I got a good family and that around me, but not everyone's got that. And I understand that that's very difficult. Someone said Samaritans. I wouldn't have rang them. I'll tell you that. Never ringing anything like that. I did speak to the Military Veterans Society, but my fucking mum made me do. And Janine made me do. It is not an easy thing to fucking throw a hand up. And I think that's what you're going to have to do. Whether you like it or not. You're just going to fucking do it. John says, what's the main thing right now you want to achieve in life? Getting back in fucking fighting order. That's the main thing. I'd pie off everything else for that. I would pie off everything else for that. Pigeonhead says mushrooms, probably. Connor says, am I aware of the fact I'm talented at talking? Sounds weird, I know, but you really are. Lucky at a time with YouTube, and so is your subscribers. It wasn't called a talent when I was at school. It was called shut the fuck up. It also wasn't a talent when I was in the army, I'll tell you that as well. That was also called shut up, you gobby mank twat. More than once. Daily. Jay says, my 2017 Discovery has broke down again. Thinking of trading it for a new Land Rover of some type. Bad idea. What's my experience with Land Rover's been like? The D300, the new Land Rover that I drove, was the best car I've ever driven. And what's really interesting is I had a conversation with Rio about this, and Rio said, and I imagine he's got a bit more of a wealth of experience of good cars than I do, because I've had shit boxes forever. Rio said he thinks that the new Land Rover Defender is the best car he's ever driven as well. Now, the problem with those is they're very easy to rob, although I believe they're trying to fucking figure something out with that. And they're fucking very, very expensive. But they are very good cars, so it's one of those, isn't it? Raf says, just eat a steak, everything gets better afterwards. Not if you get a bad one, though. If someone's cooked a steak bad, it'll fucking ruin your day. Well, it ruins mine anyway. Pigeonhead says, breakthrough science tells us that half doses of mushrooms have massive impact on PTSD and depression. I was actually put forward for a study, and I believe the study ran out of funding to try, but I was actually accepted onto a study for psilocybin mushroom trials in Amsterdam, and then it just never happened. But yeah, I was accepted onto one. I was open-minded enough. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, let's try. Luke says, talking to a stranger like a doctor or a counsellor is easier than friends or family. You may cry or feel embarrassed, but the first time you talk to someone, it's hard, but it gets easier. So, I've had counselling twice, or therapy twice, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, with 3 people. First one was just after Iraq, and I wasn't sleeping at all. And my doctor was on these old, like, same as a GP. You go to a doctor, it's the army doctor, but it was a civilian doctor rather than, usually it's like a colonel. Like, you sit down there, and for some reason he was off, and he had a civvy doctor, and he was like dead nervous. It was like I was almost out of body watching him, how nervous he was, sort of interacting. And I was very fucking aggressive when I came back from Afghanistan, from Iraq. Very fucking aggressive. Like, you wouldn't even finish talking, and I'm already answering the question that you've not even finished asking me yet. And he was entering my thing. I broke my ankle on my junior carder, and I'm being fucking processed for that sort of shit. And he sits down and he's filling in my details, and then like fucking computers, especially medical computers, they just take fucking weeks to load up. And I'm sitting there, and it's just an awkward silence. And I don't need to talk, so I'm just like, I'll sit here all day. I don't need to fill this really awkward dead air with nothing. But he did. And it was like, oh, what did he say? Oh, you're watching a football? Yeah. Who do you think's going to win? Oh, don't know. And then he said, oh, you just come back from Iraq? What? Yeah. Yeah. How have you been? And I went, well, I ain't slept in about 4 months. And I don't know where it came from to say it. And I just said it. And he shit himself. Because he'd obviously been briefed, like, oh, if any soldiers fucking present with blah, 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 then you fill a form in or something. And he literally was like, oh, shit. Started scrambling in one of his drawers, like, got to fill a form out. And I was like, okay. Like, shit. And then I got sent up to Catterick to get fucking psychologically evaluated. And I did 8 sessions with a guy, and it was cool, man. We basically just did like a fucking whiteboard. It very much reminded me of like the Good Will Hunting style of doing it, very much like that. Like, really fucking chill, and like wrote stuff down, and he was all right. I did 8 sessions with him, and he went, yeah, you sound. Discharged me. Sweet. Not mental, which was my probably fucking held on to for far too long. Oh, I'm not mental. So even when I was being a bit mental, I was like, well, I'm not mental because the psychiatrist said I'm not mental, so not fucking mental. Job's a good one. Which maybe is not a good thing. And then when I had a fucking wobble a couple of years ago, I went to the Military Veterans Society, and the lady that I dealt with there was unbelievable. And I can't tell you what you talk about because it's nothing. You don't talk about anything. It's just, honestly, it's quite, some of it gets quite deep, and you start talking about, friends you've lost and things like that. But for the most part, it's like this level sort of conversations that you're having with people. It's pretty chill, to be honest. Like, you just, oh, what are you up to? Oh, have you seen that film? It's nice. And that was good. And I did 6 months, maybe, something like that, with the Military Veterans Society. Then they have to discharge you. I think they only have funding for a certain number of sessions with you. And she discharged me, and she sent me to someone with the NHS local. And I did 2 sessions with this dude and never went back because I was like, I'm gonna fucking batter him. It was horrible. Just did not do me any good, and I just wanted to fucking fill him in, and I just never went back. But that being the case, I would recommend it. I would also say, if you don't vibe with the person that you get first time, ask for someone else. They're not going to shout at you. They're trying to get you better. So if you go, nah, listen, guy's a fucking melon, can I have somebody else? they won't be like, no, you have to go and see that person. They'll be like, okay, we'll sort you someone else. Christian says, with Casemiro downturn, looking forward to the annual United need a CDM, here are some options video. Like it's not already written. Kerfuffle says it's a basic down to earth chat. That's it, yeah. Sue says, I've just signed up for the army. What are you going in, mate? Connor says, I have some therapy sessions. She did some Reiki on me, and lad, it's broke me down in a good way. Mark says, just watched the Schweinsteiger overlap interview from a month ago and really disgusted how he was treated. It's fucking wank, wasn't it? Emma says, I really rate counselling in therapy at the moment, really helpful. Rakan says, I'm convinced Ten Hag will manage the team for years. It's just the new owners play another game in the leaking news up that outside don't know what's going on, can't even guess. Pigeonhead says, Steve, I found out my best friend committed suicide the morning I became a dad last summer. Fucking hell. It was the most fucked up day I ever experienced, but I have a truly beautiful girl smiling at me. Yeah, that's a fucking bad one, isn't it? Andy says, I asked to see a psychologist. They sent me to a psychiatrist. Then I had the nerve to ask me what the difference is. Fucking hell, I haven't been back. Ben says, off to study a master in counselling and psychotherapy this year. It's ace to hear how much you can help. Hopefully I'll be able to do some good. Oh, good on you, mate. Yeah, I think... it probably is beneficial to actually hear some people not forced to give opinions on it and just want to say, here's what I felt about. Yeah, I think it's give and take. I know some of my friends have had it when they needed it, and I think it fucking helps at times. And I think whoever it was that said it said, whoever it was that said it, which is like, you can just fucking speak to a therapist more than you can just speak to some family. They're probably right, So you're going in the infantry. What unit you going in? Shipper says, did the guy Paddock were talking to about the land purchase sell it at a higher price or to another buyer, or is it still free? I think it's still on the market. I'll chat to you in the members group about that if you want. Acid says, I used to work for the MOD at DMRC at Stanford Hall doing all the landscaping in the grounds. Some of the stories from the squad is absolutely horrific. Some are genuinely hilarious. Probably both from the same person's mouth, in my experience. Kerfuffle says, I never found counselling good for me. Always bottle up and struggle. Was where I was raised. My cousin hung himself, though, when he came out of the army. Yeah, it seems like veterans are a bit of an increased risk society. I don't know if that's because there's like a can-do attitude, if that makes sense, or a less of a fear of consequences. But yeah, there's a fucking lot of my friends have killed themselves that I serve with. A fucking lot. It worried me myself as well, because I'm in that fucking category. I ain't any better than them. Zanya says, surprised it's not an AA style group therapy sort of thing, but I guess having bravado around may not be the best at the beginning. Yeah, I mean, I've never struggled with substance abuse, but I just couldn't imagine wanting to do that. So Digby Chicken Caesar says, check my super chat. Oh, how was Normandy? I'd love to go and pay my respect to the heroes. In case we didn't finish saying it, basically I couldn't get to any of the American places because they were all closed off, and we spent 7 hours driving around on D-Day itself. And struggled to really get anywhere. But yeah, it was great being there. And it's a shame that it's kind of going to fizzle out now. I feel like the way everyone was talking, it's kind of going to fizzle out after this. AJ says, do I have any mates who served in Northern Ireland back in the day? A lot of people think that all the worst tours are all far away, but not always. yes. See, we was talking about this. I was talking about this on Thursday, actually, with the lad I was in training with. The level of experience that the British Army got out of being in Northern Ireland, without getting into any of the politics of it, because clearly there's multiple sides to stories in this, but from a pure soldiering point of view, Northern Ireland provided a level of experience for British soldiers which is no longer being gained. And from Northern Ireland, Falklands, Gulf War One, all the Kosovo, Serbia, Yugoslav tours that happened in the late 90s, Sierra Leone, into the invasion in 2003 of Iraq, and then the subsequent Herrick tours, you know, there was probably a peaking of pound for pound soldier ability that probably peaked a few years after I left, because of just lads was hitting like 2, 3, 4 tours of Afghanistan, standing on the shoulders of giants, of things that was built in Northern Ireland, that was in the Gulf War One, that was, you know, that had been to the Falklands in some instances, and, you know, Iraq, and all that experience, all that knowledge, and all that lot. And since sort of like 2011, 2012, because the tours have wound down, Iraq finished, Afghan wound down. Outside of special forces, the regular blokes are not getting that experience. And now you're seeing colour sergeants, staff sergeants, sometimes a warrant officer if they've been quick or didn't manage to blag any tours, with no medals, jubilees and coronations. Where's all that experience gone? You know, that experience is why the British Army gets to say we're the best pound for pound soldiers. And without that experience, I think you're going to fucking struggle. Now, at the same time, there'd have been some fucking bad experiences in training. Imagine being in training in the late 80s when you've got some fucking Royal Marine or para full screw that's lost mates in the Falklands, and he's kind of allowed to fill you in a little bit. From that basic training, you know, he takes you out in the field, you're doing a bit of live firing, getting ready to join the army, and then you've got some dude who fucking lost half his section in the Falklands screaming at you because you can't fucking get it right. You're going to fucking learn today. And then you multiply that all the way. Like, my full screws had been in Gulf War One and fucking Kosovo and that. And now you got full screws that have been, on exercise in Canada 5 times. It's just not the fucking same. It's just not the same. AJ says, both my parents served in Northern Ireland. Some of the stories my dad has told me are hard to listen to. Yeah. Dark says, my dad has CPTSD from when he was shot in Belfast during the Troubles when he was in the army. Fucking hell. Yeah. How is he now? It wasn't the only cause of it, but certainly was the biggest factor. What's my opinion on Northern Ireland and England and all the thing that's happened? Wow, that's like a 4 or 5 hour fucking deep dive into everything, starting with like the Irish War of Independence and all of that sort of stuff. I feel ill prepared. Luke says, what's my thoughts on bringing back national service? So we did touch on it earlier. I think if the government was going to invest in making a career in the forces attractive, pay them well, give them good facilities and all that sort of stuff, then I think you can do something. But if you've got an undermanned, under-equipped army, you're just going to put more pressure on them. Who's going to train these 25,000 fucking recruits that are doing national service? And are you going to have more, like, the discipline and motivation for recruits that are going through basic training is because they want to be part of this. If you put 25 fucking blokes and birds in there that don't want to fucking be there, do you need extra discipline involved? Like, is it going to take longer because people are just like, can you get off your phone and come and do this fucking section attack? And they'll be like, don't want to. Can you imagine? I would last 5 minutes because I'd be just fucking filling recruits in left, right, and centre. I'd be in jail by 3 o'clock. Dark says he's fine now. Had a bit of counselling over the years, but still has shrapnel on his back and his shoulder, and the SLR magazine saved him with a huge bullet tear in it. Jesus. Janine says, guess it depends on your circumstances. Mine was birth PT. Oh, Janine's talking about her one. Anthony says, genuinely investing in youth and training them to fight at the same time is one thing. Forcing poor kids to be potential cannon fodder is totally different. And that's what they're doing. Yeah, they're not saying, let's invest in our army and let's invest in our people. Let's have the best, well-trained people in the fucking country, and maybe it'll set them up for other things as well as giving them a sense of national pride and self-pride as well. No, they're not. They're probably smelling some sort of massive conflict with Russia on the horizon, and they're thinking, let's have as many people in the country who know how to do fucking normal safety procedures on a rifle before it's too late. C-Fence says, I guess we've figured out what the next IRL video is. Well, it's D-Day, yeah. It's definitely D-Day. Wayne says, national service as an optional vocation isn't a bad idea. So many young people feel lost after secondary education. The army's not the dumping ground for them. If there was, like, why is there not the opportunity to do 12-month service with the police? Why is there not the opportunity to do 12-month service with a fire brigade or the prison service or nursing or pick a fucking trade? I'm Top says, is Russia a real threat to the UK? And then Anthony Jarvis says, exactly, that's why we have to question the timing of the bright new idea. Yeah. That's my worry with it. If I could bash up with any United player, past and present, who would I choose? Brian Robson. Zana says, want to bring back national service and failing to do his service as a PM. The jokes just write themselves. I'm on Top says, Russia can't even beat Ukraine. If it makes it past Poland, it would be extremely surprising. The real thing here, though, is, do I see Russia fucking steaming across the plains of Europe? No. Do I think that Ukraine becomes the new, like, war on terror where it was like, we're just going to go and try and fight ISIS, but they're in Iraq, kind of, so the battlefield is Iraq? Do I see Ukraine becoming the battlefield where we fight Russia, but actually it doesn't really come out of there? Yeah, maybe. Do I think that they're a straight, direct threat to come and get in the mix with Britain on our shores? No, I don't really, to be honest. But I think that there's a chance that there's something going to pop off in Russia, yeah, for sure. Wesley says, Russia is fighting NATO and doing very well. It's not fighting NATO. It's fighting Ukraine, which is heavily supported with money and materials from NATO. If it goes toe-to-toe with NATO, I can't see how Russia can compete. But if it goes toe-to-toe with NATO, does China get involved? Does Iran get involved? Does North Korea just get involved because they've got fuck all else going on? Like, that's the differences, and I don't know if you know that. That's the difference. Token says, national service should mean so much more. There's so many other ways you could serve the country and build national identity and pride. Yeah. Why is it always the army? By the way, why is it not the Air Force and the fucking Navy either? Like, why is it just the fucking army? Don't give us all these fuckers who don't want to do nothing. I've ever been to Cork. I have not. Garnacho number 7 shirt next season? I'd rather not. Can we just fucking stop giving people the number 7 shirt? Because it's not working, is it? Uptown says, this what is still going on because of the military-industrial complex. It's probably a potential of that, yeah. Case Slater says D-Day remembrance should never be ended or lessened in any way. I agree. And I sort of, I'm letting the cat out of the bag here. I kind of wrap up my video with that. Or what I've shot, at least, sort of wraps up my video with that. But ultimately, do we sort of celebrate the Battle of Agincourt anymore? Probably not, right? What's the date of the Battle of Agincourt? I don't even know. I can just see it fizzling out. Tanner says, not the first time I'm depressed. I tried all the procedures like before. However, this time doesn't help. However, thank you guys. It's not what you want to do, mate. But honestly, focusing on, can you work out 3, 4, 5 days this week? And just make that like your focus of your day. Like, I'm going to get up, I'm going to work out, and then I'll just do whatever after that. Did you focus on that? I think that might give you a bit of a chance. Give it a go. Fuck all to lose, right? Ralph says, I saw a report that UEFA are making an amendment to the Champions League anthem. Surely if they change it, we boycott UEFA. Why would you do that? For 30 years. So it was on the back of Italian United. Italian United had a theme tune, right? And then on the back of that, they went, this new Champions League format should have a theme tune. Barcelona, Olympics, 92, and the Italian United both had like, classical inspired sort of theme tunes. And because they had classical inspired theme tunes, they decided to do one for the Champions League. And it's iconic. It's fucking top, isn't it? There is no place better than like a cold November Manchester night, a little bit of mist in the air, and that music, which will not be playing here this season, by the way, just fucking ringing around the stadium. It's top. It's, for all of modern football, that anthem was one of the best modern football things ever. Flawless. Don't fuck with it. Why would you fuck with it? Why would you fuck with one of the only things that everyone universally agrees that you did well? You fucking dicks. Richard says, do we have a NATO-style alliance with Japan and Australia? Don't know, actually. I mean, Australia seems to be fucking involved in everything we're involved in. I don't know. In all honesty. Freddie Mercury, Barcelona. Brill says Wesley. JC says, wishing you all well from Alabama on a mad one. Nice. Ryan says, Sunak trying to win back reform voters. That's all his policy is. Appealing to a bunch of older generation who never actually did national service but love the idea of it. It's the was better in my day brigade. Correct. I did say this when it sort of first sprang out like a couple of weeks ago that I did look into a little bit of the national service stuff because it just interested me. And it seemed like it was an absolute shit show. There wasn't enough. There are tasks that you have to do in the army, right? And some of them are bullshit. And you can get away with doing a little bit of sport every single day, really, depending on what your unit's up to at the time. So a lot of the things and the tasks that they did in national service were just fucking made up nonsense bullshit tasks to keep everyone busy and stop them just fucking about. Yeah, when you're going through your basic training, there's a program set out in front of you every single day. You're going to be busy, you're going to be tired, you're going to be this, that, and the other. It is what it is. But then, once you get to your unit, 12 months, I mean, you're going to spend, in that year, right, you're going to spend 3 or 4 months in basic training. You're going to spend probably, if you make them all infantry, you're talking 28 weeks, so there's 6 months plus. Just to get them up to the standard of a trained class 3 soldier, which is just good for fuck all at the end of the day, right? It's a class 3 soldier. It's your first day at big school. You don't know anything. You've done the courses, but you haven't got a fucking clue what's going on. So, did Uncle Pat reply? Not that I've seen. Let me just see. Yes, he has. How do we show this on the camera? I'll just get rid of some of the other alerts that are on there, but there you go. Shit. Is that focusing? This one here. I love this game. There you go. You getting that? Is it focusing? There you go. We got a reply. So you're going to spend 6 months training them, and then after 6 months, you're going to have to find something for them to do for 6 months. They're probably going to spend a month on leave, realistically. It's a fucking waste of time, man. Jeremy says, I understand you're 5'10", but when did I measure this? I don't know. I don't know the last time I measured my height. I had it done not long ago. When I had my operation, actually, they measured my height. So probably 2 years ago. Have I looked up the size of the Russian military versus the UK? Yeah, but, you know, the UK's also got some shit up our sleeve a little bit. So I wouldn't necessarily think it just has to go pound for pound with it. Ryan says, it's a gimmick aimed at appealing to morons. I mean, that's the top of it. So Digby says I'd have his name saved as Uncle Pat in my phone book. Does the UK have nukes? Yes, thousands of them. What do I think of the overlap, Roy and the rest? I sent Ash the last one where it was Keane, Rooney, Righty, and Neves. It might have been Carragher as well. I can't remember. I just fucking zone out when he starts talking. But it was them lot sitting around talking absolute waffle. It was the one where Roy Keane went off on the masseuse. That entire episode was fucking brilliant. It was one of the funniest podcasts I've listened to in a long time. It was just great. Can I message Ollie and tell him to come back? My mate, Wesley says, my mate was an RSF fireman in Cheshire, worked 9 to 5, came home every day and every weekend off, 10 years. Notch says, I heard Italian National Service was the same, meaningless setup. I was called up, but I was able to avoid it living here. Have I seen the change in UK constituencies? Article in The Guardian said that if 29 election was today, Tories would have got an extra 25 seats. Nobody talking about that. Not seen that. Michael Wood says we have 225 Juarez, not thousands. Really? Have we decommissioned loads? Because last I said we got fucking thousands. To be fair, you don't need thousands. Dream guest on Vibe with 5. Fergie. Make it happen, Rio. Stop fucking about. What's my thoughts on Mainoo getting racial stick in the press? It's sadly expected. Like the fact that they even decided to even mention him after the game when there's a £100 million player next to him. Just fucking nonsense. Are we ever going to do a 24-hour podcast like we did a few years ago? I would love to. But just literally the time is not there. Thoughts on the outpouring of tributes to Rob Burrow the past week? It was nice to see, in all honesty. Sad day, obviously, he's passed away, but it was nice to see. Scott says the only nukes we have in the UK are the US made or on subs. Daniel Clay says, Waz's addition to the overlap has been great. Shame they'll be losing him again. Speaking of what happened when we did the... All right. Never mind. Michael says, I'd love to see you interview Ten Hag. What are the chances? I guess it depends if he's still a fucking manager come the pre-season tour, doesn't it? It's not a zero. I wouldn't have thought it's in the 90s, though. Yeah, I think... I did manage to speak to him very briefly on the last tour. You know, how you parlay that into an actual sit-down interview. Don't know. I'll try. Brian says, me and the wife's IRL video, great. Get Janine in more. Nice to see you both together. She's gone down really well, hasn't she, on video? And she's done 3 videos. She's fucking getting banged into it. 3 videos in the last month. There was the IRL one camping, which is basically all her. And then there's the one where we are comparing ration packs, which went down really well. And then she's just done the Alan Turing one, which is a fucking natural. Josh says, do I ever wonder what life would be like had Germany won the war? And would we have as much corruption, or would we have a higher quality of living? I think it depends on a lot of fucking things, doesn't it? Because certain people would be fucking dead, for starters. Who the fuck knows? You ever see the Man? Is it Man in the Castle? There's a film. There's a TV series which sort of tries to paint it out like Germany and Japan carved up America, like the way Berlin was carved up. Sort of an interesting thought process, like. Val says, Steve, pay much attention to Copa America. I try, and I'd love to do more South American football, but the time it's on doesn't really fucking help. What's my take on it if I do? Any favourites? It should just be an Argentina fucking cakewalk. There's no one that can fuck with them, I don't think, at the moment. Wayne says, G on the video, the new Paddock shirt was top tier. Noah says, thinking of mental health, do I think Casemiro's been affected by Jimmy's comments last year with him being on the new owner? Started the season okay, but dropped off massively since. Not sure. My estimate is World War III will kick off. Probably before fucking City get charged. Anthony says, Steve, getting Janine to build the tent under the guise of let's do an ASMR video and film it is genius. Listen, that was her idea. Like, she has a lot of input into the channel. Not this channel. She don't have a fucking clue about football. But into the IRL channel, she has a lot of input. And as you can see, she has a lot of input into the football team as well, even though she doesn't know anything about football. But she does know about what looks good. So, you know, she has her input, and that was her input. She watches that shit, which is why we did it. You know, the IRL channel, it's not an established channel. So we have got the ability to be able to experiment and try stuff. So that's what we do. Wayne says, big old super chat, cheers mate. Says, just want to say thanks for all the years of content, 10 years now I think. Been stuck in the States since 2009 and been lost without the channel, like Devils and Paddock. Cheers. Cheers, pal. John says, zombie apocalypse, 3 essential items, not weapons, and who from Paddock would I choose to bunker down with? From Paddock, McCullough's going to start whining within 5 seconds because he can't get a zoot. Joe's going to be a fucking pain in the ass when he can't get oat milk or avocado. Me and Jay can talk for days about shit that happened. Remember when United were good? We won't even need to have new stimulus. We can just talk about the 96 season and shit. So, yeah, probably Jay. And the 3 essentials. Need a car. The problem is, fuel goes bad. So unless you can find a way to make fuel, or there must be a way to, like, I don't know, can you stir it up? I'm not sure how it goes bad. I just know it goes bad. It goes out of date, like. So I think you need some sort of a way of getting fuel. Can I convert an old Land Rover to run on piss or something like that? No weapons though. A sleeping bag and a tent. Why did me and Ben fall out? We haven't fell out. Ben still does a video with me every single week. He just hasn't done it the last few weeks because, well, Ben's got his own businesses and I've not been in the fucking country. I was chatting to him this morning. Do we have any pre-order or earlier shipping dates for the new paddock shirt? We're hoping 27th, and we're probably going to put it on a pre-order tomorrow. So if you remember, look out for an email tomorrow. I might go live tomorrow night and just remind everybody. But yeah, probably do that tomorrow. We've just got to confirm all the sizings and stuff like that, and then we'll get the pre-order out there. Pine oil, piece of piss for fuel. Does that work? Barry says, saw a video of yours from about 4 years ago. Can I explain the difference in my voice between then and now? Seems a lot more rustly now. Don't know. COVID, injections, vaccines, black helicopters. I don't know. Fuck knows. When's the sausage roll party? We've been waiting years. Well, yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but we haven't fucking really done out. I'm not doing it for an FA Cup. As much as I love the FA Cup, I'm not doing a sausage roll party for the FA Cup. We'll do it if City get relegated to the Northern Prem. How long before the Premier League facing 115 charges? City suing the Premier League because they don't like the rules is the most obvious we're fucking well guilty move I've ever fucking seen. And also, if you was innocent, why would you not provide why would you block the investigations? It's such a fucking, just relegate them and be fucking done with it. Would I ever consider going on the club or the kickoff? Well, the club, I mean, yeah, Maka does the club, but I don't. Right. I'm assuming you mean for watch-alongs. I own a channel that does watch-alongs and I'm not on that. So probably if I was doing watch-alongs, would do them on that channel. But I don't do watch-alongs. I don't like doing them. So, have you ever met Gary Neville? Yeah. If City got relegated to the Championship, do I think it'd really affect them? Not really, no, but it does mean that you get to say that their titles don't count, doesn't it? We just need them fucking finding guilty. We don't need them exonerating. We just need them finding guilty, and then we'd be like, oh, we won 6 and 7. No, you didn't. And then that's all we need. That's all we need. I'll take that. How many promotions would it take to get where hashtag is? Are they Southern Prem? So, a lot. 5? 5 or 6? Sam says, oh shit, hi. Didn't even clock you was there then. City relegated to Northern Prem, and I will bring the band and play at the sausage roll party. So there's a fucking treat for us, isn't it? John says, any chance of getting Mokev on a podcast with Brendan? Possibly. One of the I've not gone to Instagram actually, but someone said why not? Why am I not doing the MMA podcast? I don't like half-assing stuff for one, and I think it was in COVID when we stopped, which is when I started the football team, and that has just took all my time. So there's only so many plates I can keep in the air at once, and that was one that I chose to put down, and that's it. Kieran says, did I hear about the City owners giving the UK government 10 billion back in the day? Yes, and that, I'll be honest, worries me, because if anyone does fucking sleaze, it's this government. I don't like the look of that. Barry says, cheers for that. Absolutely loving the channel. Become a club member when I've got some disposable extra income. Ledge. And that's it, yeah. It's 50 quid a year or it's 5 quid a month. There's two options on there. And recently we've done a whole members area, which there's even more stuff. I mean, we're hoping there'll be a new website ready by next week, actually, as well. So we're moving on it. But I think we'll do some good stuff. It's just, it takes time because it's real. It's not a Footy Manager where you can blast through 5 seasons in a couple of days. It takes time. I think we've done all right with it, though. Raf says, Steve, don't let this discussion distract you from the fact that Building 7 miraculously fell down on 9/11 without a proper investigation as into how. You know what I'm saying? Connor says, can we get Adam and Simon Jordan in a room with Joe and Jay in Simon's ear giving ammo? It would be hilarious. If I could relive one game at Old Trafford, which one would it be? Does it have to be a game I've been to? Barcelona in 08 and Rome in 07 were pretty good, but Blackburn in 93, the day we won the title for the first time in 26 years, was pretty fucking good as well. Porto, 97. Been some fucking bangers, man. Do I think City's titles will be formally stripped? That's what we need. No. What I can see is getting found guilty in some like unprecedented like 50, 60, 70 million pound fine. And then everyone gets to say that they were guilty, but nothing really fucking happens because it's like they paid the fine and they didn't even fucking blink. It's the cost of doing business. They'd probably see it as. Tino says, Steve, it's been a while. However, check my Discord DM. It's something I care about and wish to help if possible. I can't access my Discord. It won't let me log in. Is there any other way to message me? Hence why I've not been on Discord. I can't fucking log in. It won't work on my computer. Barry says, when I go to games, do I like being approached by the fans of the channel or prefer to be left alone? I generally prefer to be left alone because I'm fucking really awkward with it. Like, I didn't do any of this to get fucking recognised at the game. I just prefer to be left alone, in all honesty. I would say 99.9% positive. That's the truth. I mean, it's probably less than once a year someone will say something to me and be like, you're a fucking dick or something like that. It just doesn't happen. But even if people are being nice, I'm just really self-conscious. Like, I don't like taking selfies with people. I don't like... I'm not a fan of it. I don't want to draw attention to myself. Tino says, can I email you in any way? Yeah, email the email address that's on my socials. That's DeadJ. And tell him to forward this to me. Tell him you spoke to me on the live tonight and he'll do it. And I'll tell him to check his spam in case it goes there tomorrow. Yeah, I just feel really self-conscious doing it. So that's the truth of it. It's just a self-conscious thing. And, I'm not showy or fucking, steam into a room and fucking do this, that, and the other. I just keep it low key if I can. Try and fucking jib in, jib out without fucking causing a fuss. Am I mates with any City fans? Yes. Not many of them, like, obviously. Did I find the guy that called me Battle Buddy that time? No, I don't think we did, actually. Mike says, I wouldn't want a selfie with you two, bro. Fucking sound. The free game with Barcelona in 99, epic. Sam, I reckon I just shout, you're a belt, and I love you. Seems appropriate. I don't know what I'm more awkward about, that or fucking Yanks were giving it all a thank you for your service. And there's a lot of people commented that on the D-Day post that I put on. It's not about me, and don't thank me for my service. I wanted to do it. It's not. It's a very American thing, and I don't even know how to reply to it. It's like I don't know how to reply to the positive messages. I just go fucking. The thank you for your service one. I don't know. It feels like it's sort of said almost as a reactionary. It's like when you say all right to a Mancunian and they go all right. I'm not actually asking you, oh, you're all right. It's just like it's a politeness thing in it, and I just think the thank you for your service thing is a load of old bollocks. Yeah. I mean, I get people want to say something. It just the only way I can describe it is like one of my first fucking interactions on a regular basis with Americans was a guy from the south somewhere, and he was on one of the washdown points in Afghanistan, and he used to say, "I appreciate it." When you had to go in and sign in to the fucking washdown point, and the guy used to just be. He used to start saying, "I appreciate it" before you'd even fucking finish signing the thing, and he'd whip the clipboard out your hand. So you're like, it feels inauthentic. That's what it is. I hate things that feel inauthentic. That's the top and bottom of it. I fucking crave authenticity, and I hate things that don't feel authentic. Like, I'll never fucking say I like something if I don't. Just will not. Connor with a super chat says, thanks for the every text. That's class. Past five past 5 current United players to train to create a military squad to allegedly assassinate an American rat-looking Premier League owner. 5 past, 5 current. Martinez in a current. Mainoo, because he just seems fucking cool and composed. I'll get him on comms. He's not gonna be flapping when a round start flying. He'll just be cool. Just send the sit reps, no matter. Bruno, captain, need him. Bruno, Martinez, Mainoo. Onana looks like he'd be good enough firefight. Looks like he could tab as well. Looks like he's got a bit of that going on. Problem is not fucking enough at the minute. Wan-Bissaka. Don't know why. I'm 5 past. Robbo. Mark Hughes. Chalky for the sense of humour. Vidic. And Wes Brown. Tino says, for anyone who doesn't think just down to earth, how many people have you seen in the slightest public eye would have spent 2 hours at a time just hang out and chat? Surely loads do. Fardine says, I don't get how to respond to compliments, so when my friends want to take the piss, they have a very easy way to do. Yeah. Gavin says, glad to see Brandon Williams go. He nearly collected more points than United this season. Stadio says, Keane's getting mugged off here. Mike says, I had to clean the ice off my windscreen yesterday. I used a plastic discount card, only got 50% off. Nice. Raf says, Ji-Sung Park. Yeah, Ji-Sung Park wouldn't have been a bad one. Would I take Ben Godfrey as a backup? Rio used to rave about him. He did, but he's been shite for a few years now. A couple of years he's been well off the pace, so I don't know if he's finished or not. I mean, not finished, but I don't think he's on the trajectory to be a Manchester United player. So for me, that means finished. It is what it is. Righty, I'm going to wrap it up anyhow. But cheers for everyone for hanging out tonight. If you're a member, I'll drop some news tomorrow. If you're not a member and you want to have a say in a football club, there is a link in the description. Go check it out. Shaq says yap Stam. Yep, I'm stand corrected. He should have been in there. But yeah, we're about to embark on a new season. Training starts on Tuesday. Feel very confident for it. I'm trying to build a club that hopefully does something and has a bit of an impact, not just locally but globally. But yeah, cheers for hanging out. Tanner, hope you can sort your shit out. And like I said, if you reach out to someone, you get pied, then reach out to us and we'll fucking sort it out if we have to. But take it easy, everyone. Start the week right on a good foot tomorrow, and I'll see you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.